wait for some people to get in here. Breaking news, breaking news. Guess we could do it like that. Oh. Right, let me get set up here.
Right.
Oh.
But they also made the point that they wanted to make it clear that
Breaking news, breaking. Come on, people. I received 2 more. 2? I only heard about 4. Oh wait, I probably should put day whatever. It's day.
Savannah Guthrie was back.
65. That's what I thought. All right. All right, whatever. I'm just gonna go ahead without. You guys can go back. All right. So there's been a new note that TMZ got, but now right here, make sure we're seeing the same thing. Okay. TMZ reported on Monday that the outlet received 2 more purported. They must have been reported ransom notes related to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie. That's funny because Savannah went back to work today. Let me see what else here. I got some videos to show. God. What is this? No. If the TMZ note is real, the person who wrote it is an idiot for not just calling the Nancy Guthrie tip line and getting the $1.2 million. Exactly. But we'll listen to see what they say in the note. I listened to it a little bit, but it wasn't. I was like, I gotta come here and talk to you guys. Alleged location where Nancy was kept or buried because by stretch this is true. Kidnappers hiring is my. Let's watch this.
You know, I will share a little bit of news with you. The person who has been incessantly contacting us,
although
saying,
stopped for a while.
Yeah. We got another letter today.
Excessively contacting them. Why are they contacting them? Why them?
From this person, an email saying, I know where her body is and who the kidnapper is. Give me half a Bitcoin and I'll tell you. And this person has been really persistent, knowing that if it's a scam, it's a federal crime.
Right. But they also made the point that they wanted to make it clear that they have nothing to do with it.
Right.
They've been out of the country, but who knows?
They've been out of the country, but yet they know where Nancy's body is, and they know who did it. Oh, come on.
It to the FBI,
right,
as we have in the past, and
right.
For whatever reason, and this is the thing we haven't figured out, you have to assume that the law enforcement, they believe that this person is not legit. Otherwise, they would have advised Savannah to pay the money.
Can we just be really transparent? I think you're right that the law enforcement doesn't. There's something.
I just can't figure out why.
There's
why not take a flyer? The price of Bitcoin is much lower now. These are like, you could just take a flyer and see what the person knows. The most you lose is 20 grand, 25 grand.
I'll tell you why. My spidey senses tell me that there's something about this guy, because one of the emails he sent said early on, time is of the essence to do this. And then the next day he said, time is no longer of the essence. If he was pulling a scam, why would you say time is no longer of the essence?
Right. You want to keep the value
you
high.
want to keep
of
the
your
value
information.
high.
Yeah.
And the fact that he said this made me think, this
Look
guy
at
knows
him.
him.
Yeah, it's
And
a way to look on it
and
as well, though.
I'm not,
No.
look, I'm
We
not
don't
FBI.
We're not privy to all the information they are, but
You're talking about
just
the
from the
psychology,
outside
yeah.
looking in, it sure seems like this person knows something.
They know something. They know something they're not telling, and they probably can't tell us. But I wanted to share this. Let me pop it in. What am I doing? I'm having a brain fart. Oh my god. Oh wait, stop sharing. Durr. Okay. Well, hold on. Let me switch these out so it's bigger. These people, Nancy Guthrie, TMZ receives a new ransom note. TMZ podcast. They're gonna talk about it.
With snow or terrible weather, but it was
Yeah. Okay, we also had a golden egg. at
Oh,
where
okay.
I was in Temecula.
Mhm.
Same thing, golden egg. It was like $75 to Trader Joe's.
Oh, that's kind of
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
lamb cake to my husband's.
It's messed up.
Yeah, cake
Be
was
honest with
delicious
you.
though.
Oh my god.
Piece,
Okay.
but I actually
That's
left them
so
there.
cool.
So. We were gonna talk about Taylor Frankie Paul most of the podcast today,
Yeah.
but this
Some
is breaking
big
news.
developments.
Big developments. Obviously, Nancy Guthrie. We've been talking about it. We talked about her this morning.
Yeah.
No new updates whatsoever. No new notes coming in. But TMZ, we just received 2 new notes, a couple of
Yes.
new ones. So both are from the same person offering information on the kidnapper. For the
Why did they send 2? I want to know what's in these notes. Why 2?
For the first time, this person is revealing an exact location and claiming that they saw her in Mexico. As we had previously reported, we talked about this before. It was someone who was claiming to know her whereabouts and know the person that did this.
And saw her.
Saw her and said that if we sent them 1 Bitcoin, that they would reveal this information.
Yeah. How
And
much is 1 Bitcoin?
Right now, I can't say it live, but maybe 67,000.
Okay.
Last time I saw, so hanging around 60.
Yeah, it's about 60. What did my husband tell me? About 64,000. So this must be the same person that oh god, I'm having a brain fart. Oh, that was sent the one note in about said that they actually seen her, and it's literally right over the border.
To $70,000. So there's a couple new notes. TMZ received the first note Monday morning today. The same day, by the way, that Savannah Guthrie jumped back on the Today Show, made
Yep.
her re-debut, and it's from that person offering to rat out the kidnappers for nearly 2 months now. They say their demand for 1 Bitcoin to, quote, deliver them on a silver platter still stands. Shortly after we talked about the first note on TMZ Live, though, sent a second letter saying, quote, I saw her alive with them in the state of Sonora, Mexico. You know where Sonora, Mexico
It's
is?
the border right below where Nancy Guthrie was living.
Okay.
So, I mean, look, that location would make sense geographically to where she could potentially be.
Mhm.
But it's kind of interesting because we're believing that this is a person that already has written in the past.
Right.
And the past times, this person said she was dead, said Nancy was no longer with
Right.
us.
Mhm.
And kind of what they're saying now is almost like they know that they saw her alive with them at one point, we're believing. So just kind of some confusion if this person who claims to know or have seen her,
Right.
if they're trying to say she is alive or she's no longer with us, whatever the case, they are urging somebody to donate or to put money in to this Bitcoin. They're asking
Yeah.
for half a Bitcoin now, right?
Half a Bitcoin. But again, suggesting in the first note,
Why don't they just call the tip line and get the $1.2 million? That's a hell of a lot more than half of a Bitcoin.
quote, she is dead.
Right.
We did send this first note to the FBI, but they're not. It's a
Yeah.
legit note.
Other they would have, the FBI would have just been like, here's, 60,000 or 30,000 or whatever.
Right.
and like try to get the information. Look, the risk is that the FBI loses money
Yeah.
and this person is bogus and disappears off the face of the planet.
Right.
But do you take that risk and just contribute or, put the money in just to see if something comes out of this? I
Yeah.
mean, like you mentioned, Savannah is back on the Today Show. She returned today. Her mother has been missing for 2 months. 2
Yeah.
months.
February 1st.
There hasn't really been a whole lot of movement. Remember, they kind of found some people who they thought were connected. They both weren't.
Yeah.
They've been released. No one's behind bars right now. They haven't found her body. They really don't have, at least from what we've
They
seen.
don't have any,
They don't-
they don't have anything. They need to start doing something. See if they can correspond with this guy and be like, "Hey, we'll give you half now, and then we'll give you the rest of the half once you produce Nancy," or something. Or "Hey, give us her first, and then."
They don't really have any leads.
Yeah.
It's starting to dip into the cold case basket,
Yeah.
which is so frustrating. So I think if you have nothing else, just give the 60,000 or just give the 30,000. I feel like Savannah is a woman that is wealthy. She
Mm. I didn't watch all of this. So I don't know what they all talk about.
More than a whole Bitcoin.
right.
100% more than a full Bitcoin. So, yeah. All right. Well, we will keep you updated on this. The fact.
Okay, whatever. This one's
Yeah.
Brian.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. I really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. I really appreciate all of your support of my channel. Today is day 65 in the search for Nancy Guthrie, and there is some new news that just came down a little while ago. TMZ is now reporting that they have received yet another ransom note, and they're giving some very specific details of what that note said. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Also, Savannah Guthrie was back on the Today Show for the first time since her mother, Nancy Guthrie, disappeared. And one thing that I'm wondering is it just a coincidence that TMZ has received this new alleged ransom note on the same day that Savannah Guthrie went back to work? Look, I don't know if this ransom note is real. I think most of the ransom notes have been fake. I think that TMZ has overblown a lot of these notes. And I'm going to get to exactly what it says in a second. But I have wondered if when Savannah Guthrie went back to work, would that spark new interest in the case? Would that spark whoever did this to somehow do something differently or react?
It's a reaction. Her going back, and then all of a sudden, not one that I originally thought, there's two. Comes out, she got a reaction. She got them to, not show their face, but you know what I mean. Got them surface again.
Act differently. So it's something that's kind of been in the back of my mind. I was wondering if there was going to be some kind of development today. So anyway, I'll get to the TMZ note in a minute. First, I do want to reference, though, Savannah going back to the Today Show this morning. She said that she had received many letters, that she had received so much kindness. She said, "Good morning. Welcome to today on this Monday morning. We are an enormous amount of strength." And she has just been really incredible through this entire thing, in my opinion. Okay, back to this TMZ note. So I'm going to read. I took notes of what TMZ is saying happened here with this latest ransom note. They are saying that a person has been incessantly contacting us. They use that word, incessantly.
Yeah, they did.
That they received another letter saying, "I know where her body is and where the kidnapper is. Give us half a Bitcoin and I will tell you." And again, they were saying this person has been very persistent. This is someone who has contacted them in the past, wanted to make clear they have nothing to do with it, meaning Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, that they've been out of the country, but that they know who the kidnapper is and where the body is. And Harvey Levin...
So, with Savannah going back today, that made the guy pop his head out, like little whack-a-mole game. And then I don't think this guy knows. I don't think he does. Because all of a sudden now, after how many weeks, I'd have to go back and look. the last time I spoke about a ransom note, but it's been about a month-ish, give or take a week or 2 or a week, couple days since they've gotten one, and then all of a sudden, he just pops his head out and now he wants a half a Bitcoin. He is trying so hard to get money, and it's not gonna work. He's not gonna get shit.
TMZ says that they forwarded the letter to the FBI. He said, "My spidey senses say there is something about this guy." So it doesn't seem like he's totally discounting the letter. At one point, Harvey Levin said, at one point, the same person who emailed before said time was of the essence, then later said time was no longer of the essence, which it seems like is making Harvey Levin think that this is legit because the person may have sent the first note when they knew that Nancy Guthrie was alive, and then perhaps sent the second note when they knew that Nancy Guthrie was no longer alive. Now, I don't know what to make of these TMZ notes. I've been skeptical. I mean, are they just looking for attention? They make a good headline for TMZ every time they report on one of these. But again, I think the timing is interesting that this is coming on the same day that Savannah Guthrie is back at the Today Show. And I think it's interesting that Harvey Levin is saying that his spidey senses say there is something about this guy.
If his spidey senses are saying that there's something about him, then there's more in those notes than what they're telling us, which a lot of stuff I would hope they would keep to themselves. Like the bad shit, but also I want to know what's in the notes. But I do have to understand, or I do understand that they can't release everything. They can't release everything because that's evidence, and that's for LE and FBI and everything.
I also think you have to remember that Savannah Guthrie said when she did her Today Show interview that she believed that 2 of the ransom notes were perhaps legit, which actually surprised me. That was probably the most surprising part of the interview for me because I did not think that she was going to say that. I just assumed that they realized that none of them were legit, but she said she believes the 2 are legit. Now we have this new note reportedly coming from TMZ on the same day that Savannah Guthrie is back to work. I am joined now by Joe Giacalone, a retired NYPD sergeant. He's been involved in a ton of criminal investigations and cold cases over the years. Joe, thank you so much for joining me. Really, really appreciate it, sir.
Thanks for having me on, Brian.
I first want to ask you about this new development within the last couple of hours. TMZ reports that they've received another ransom note. I've always been a little skeptical of the ransom notes, especially from TMZ. Like, are they just trying to get headlines? But I was just reading through what they said. Harvey Levin said, "My spidey senses say there is something about this guy. He's written them before. He's been very persistent. He doesn't claim to be the kidnapper, but says he knows who that person is and where the body is." I mean, what do you make of it?
Well, listen, law enforcement's going to have to try to track down anything they can on this. Like you said, I've took the ransom stuff with a grain of salt from the very beginning because it was unlike anything we've ever seen before in history and textbooks or what have you. So listen, they have to do this as part of their investigation, but there's always been a couple of investigations, tracks going on here. Your ransom, stranger kidnapping, family members. I mean, all of these things happen just about in every investigation. So, it's just another thing that they'd have to concentrate on and quite frankly, probably waste a lot of time trying to figure out what exactly is happening on that end.
Mm-hmm.
With Savannah Guthrie going back on the Today Show this morning, though, I had always kind of wondered in the back of my mind when he decided to do that, would that have an impact in the investigation? Like, would that spark someone new to come forward? Or if it was like
I wonder if she didn't want to go back, but this was to set the guy up. Set him up so he pops his head out of his hole again. But then if that is the case, then she wouldn't be on there anymore. Or she's going to continue being on there every day. Just to see if he sends any more notes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Obsessed Savannah person who did this, would they be sparked to send a new note or something? So the timing is kind of interesting that the same morning she goes back to work after more than 2 months, TMZ suddenly gets a note. I mean, what do you think of that?
Eventually, she had to go back to work, all right? I remember standing at a homicide a long time ago at a scene, and I remember the detective next to me saying, "Hey, Sarge, you know what? Life goes on, right? And things just happen like this." But yes, I think the best thing for her in her own, for her own mental health and overall health is to try to get back to some
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of routine where she goes back to work and
Have a
does
normal
something that
sleep.
she loves to try to keep her mind off of this, because I'm sure she's basically losing her mind in so many aspects about what's going on with the investigation, worried about her mom and her health and everything else that goes along with it. We can only imagine what somebody would go through that kind of trauma.
What do you think about the timing, though, of this note to TMZ on the day that she went back? Do you think that there could be a link there?
I don't think so, but like everything else, if this is somebody who's just been trying to make, troubles.
Oh, there's definitely a link. Today's show's on at what? 7, 8 in the morning? Damn. Oh, hold on. I gotta throw that wrapper away. If I didn't pick it up and throw it away, my dog would have found it and ate it. There's definitely a link, though. We haven't heard anything, and then all of a sudden, the day she goes back to work, how many hours later after the show airs, and it's all over X, and then ransom notes get sent? Yeah. No, it's definitely connected.
So to speak, then yes, sure, they would do this, take this opportunity because she's back on the news and everything else that goes along with it. But I don't know. I just hope that they figure out who this person is, and if they have real information. I mean, there's over $1 million in reward for this. So I mean, come on.
You don't seem that, just as the tone of your voice, you don't seem that convinced with these notes.
No, I didn't. Like I said, I wasn't really a big fan of this ransom stuff from the beginning. And
I don't know. I don't think they're real. I don't know. Why would TMZ get them? Unless they want to show people who's in control because they're using media. And they're not going straight to the source because they know if they would have told Ellie what they would have kept it to themselves and not put it out there like TMZ has. And they would have not got their 15 minutes of fame.
one person they did catch, right, that was trying to scam the people out of this. It would have rewritten textbooks, Brian, on how law enforcement handles ransom notes. I mean, they didn't go directly to the family; they go through the media, which is something we've never seen before. There's just some other things I just don't like about this. Right, the idea is to get the money and be able to give the person back, but that doesn't seem to be part of the equation when this thing first happened.
And there was no proof of life ever, from what we know.
Right. And you're not going to send any money over the internet for this. I mean, it's not that it's gone forever. I know a lot of people don't think that the Bitcoin can't be, traced, but listen, there are a lot of people out there that have the skills to be able to do this. And you know what? The FBI, I'm sure, is working on that as we speak.
Yeah, I sort of thought all the ransom notes were just made up. But then when Savannah did that interview with Hoda, she said that she believes that two of the ones that they received could be legit. So then I started to think to myself, well, wait a minute, if she's saying that, that's probably the FBI telling her that. So maybe some of them have been,
Could you imagine getting ransom notes for a family member and reading these ransom notes? Like, I'm trying to put myself in that position. I wouldn't want to, and it would probably be the last thing to cross my mind at that point. But my curiosity would get the better of me at some point, and I would want to know what's in those notes.
real.
Well, I mean, listen, they don't tell, the FBI is not going to tell the victim's family exactly everything that's going on. They might just say, like, this is what we got. We think it's credible. But law enforcement's job is to make sure they vet out all that information anyway. They're not going to come out and say this is nonsense and we're not going to even be bothered with it. So, you don't want to give people hope, but you also want to say, listen, we're taking this seriously. We don't know if it's real or not, and we're going to try to track it down and see if we.
Why doesn't the FBI put like a tracer thing on TMZ's like email stuff or phones or whatever? If it's in a freaking email, you can trace it back. Yeah, it's probably gonna go nowhere, but at least you can trace it. See where it's bouncing off at.
We can get you an answer. I mean, I'm sure that was kind of like the conversation that was going on.
Yeah. And so we'll see where these notes go. I mean, again, I just wonder if TMZ thinks it's a good headline every time they get a note. But obviously, they're saying that they're forwarding it to the FBI, and we'll just have to see how that plays out. I'm curious, Joe. It's now been more than 2 months. You did so much cold case work, and I don't want to call this a cold case yet, but if you were to
It is.
receive, if you were working this case, you received the file now, like where do you begin?
It's easy for me, Brian. I would just say I would be creating an international cold case task force, and we would be bringing in every agency that's in within 100 miles of where this crime happened. And I'm talking about at least one representative, and of course, we would include the federal partners, including the DEA. Now, people say, "Well, how do you know? Why would the DEA?" Because Mexico is not that far away, and I'm sure the DEA has assets and confidential informants in Mexico that they can help out with this investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I would be pushing for is to be debriefing every prisoner that gets arrested within that 100-mile radius, asking them if they know anything about the case, asking recently convicted prisoners as they're sitting in the cell for the first time in the first week, you know what? Maybe they do know something. Listen, you have to go to the sources where these guys hang out and these guys know one another, so to speak, and try to get information out of somebody. This is a get out of jail free card. And like I said before, over $1 million and you haven't had a real tip that led you anywhere is really concerning, which means it could be a big part of the dark underworld that we don't know about just yet, and people have been keeping it quiet. But you know what? One thing I found in my career is that somebody who's been sitting in a cell says, "You know what? I know something. I got to get out of here," and they can try to make a deal.
It's interesting you say that. One of my cop friends, and he's not even a detective, he's a street cop and he's a younger guy. He was asked, we were chatting about the Nancy Guthrie case, and that's what he said. He said, I bet at some point someone in prison is going to have the tip. And I was like, why do you think that? And he said, I don't know. I just have a hunch. Like at some point it's going to be someone behind bars who gives up some info.
Well, I mean, it's a
Ooh,
tactic that we use quite often when we're trying to investigate cold cases, when you're dealing with things with 20, 30 years old. Who else would know about things such as this? And
people in prison.
listen, debriefing of prisoners, even at intake, and I don't care if it's for something minor. You never know exactly how many times people have been arrested, and they might be looking at some serious time, and they have heard something. I'll take a rumor, I'll take anything. Of course, the police have to go and vet that information, but it's a lead, right? There comes a point you have to go and shake the trees and create your own leads. I don't want to see police departments sit back and say, well, we have DNA possibly, right? Well, no, you have nothing until you get it back. That's the first thing. And even if you get it back, you don't know if it's going to be usable, if they were able to extract the mixtures.
Yeah, we still have not heard anything about that half DNA. Nothing has been talked about more.
All those things to go, right? Get off your butts, go out there and start shaking your own trees. Make something happen. And listen, law enforcement has the capability of doing this, but having all of those other departments doing the same thing you're doing, you shake enough trees, it could be something falling out of it.
You mentioned Mexico. I've always wondered why it seems like they've downplayed Mexico. Like in the beginning, they made a point to say, well, we have no evidence.
Well, the Mexico thing in the beginning, I think it might have been FBI. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure it was the FBI because they're the only ones with jurisdiction over everything. But some type of law enforcement from here, from the United States, was trying to get the head guy or whatever he is over in Mexico, um, give him heads up. Hey, look, this is what's going on. We believe she's here. And then it was like a couple days later, and he's like, no, she's not here. Mm, I think you're gonna lie because you know she's there, or you actually don't know she's there, but you're just covering up because she probably is there. Because we know Mexico is what is the word I'm looking for? Mexico is a hush hush, a pow 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 kind of place. Like I don't know how to describe it without being like rude about Mexico. It's just not a good place to be.
Evidence to believe this has anything to do with Mexico. The Mexican government said the same thing. But it's so close. I mean, I drove there from Nancy's house. It takes like an hour and a half,
Yeah, he
maybe
was on the
even
other
less
side.
time if there's no traffic. Like, I just have a hard time just saying it.
It took him what, an hour, let's just say an hour and a half to get there. Less time if there's no traffic. And Nancy went missing or her pacemaker stopped or didn't send the signal at let's say 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. There ain't gonna be nobody out. Who the hell is gonna be traveling? I mean, we have an idea who's gonna be traveling on the roads that night. Bad people.
It has nothing to do with Mexico. It just, I don't know. It seems like we should keep that possibility open.
You always keep it open, but I also remember whatever the law enforcement agencies say too, you never take them for full value. They say everything and nothing all in the same sentence, right? Oh, everybody's cleared. Nobody's cleared until the case is
No.
over. I mean, it's as simple as that. First of all, you don't want to keep people. You want to keep people calm. You want to keep people, in a situation where they might make a mistake. So we never want to label anything as this person, that person, or anything else. But yes, you have to keep the Mexico angle open. Not even saying that drug cartels are involved. It's just an easy escape over the border kind of thing, which in this case might even help even more in respect that it's an automatic federal takeover at that point, as soon as you have that international line cross or state line cross. And
Yeah, Mexico doesn't want the federal there because of the cartel, because of all this other stuff. They're not there for the cartels. You guys don't have to worry. They're there for Nancy. But they don't want them there because they're trying to hide everything that's what's going on down there.
And quite frankly, something I was hoping for, where the feds would be able to just step in and say, okay, our turn. The feds are always lurking in these cases. I mean, I've worked with the feds, and it's not like television where you're always fighting. It's actually really a symbiotic relationship, and I've always had some good relationships with those guys and girls. But you know what? We hear differently. We don't know for sure what's happened in Pima, but if that's the case, it would be an absolute shame if that occurred.
Yeah, so what I heard from sources is initially that there was an issue between the FBI and the local sheriff's office, that the sheriff's office wasn't sharing everything, that the sheriff has this longstanding beef with the FBI, and there were issues in the beginning, but now they have this task force, and apparently it's pretty seamless now. They're getting along. It's less about the sheriff and more just like the detectives and the FBI agents working together, and they've sort of straightened all.
Let's not forget that the supervisor for the homicide that was at Nancy's house, the supervisors never worked a homicide case a day in their life. Yeah, let's put those people out there. Let's not give them any training. Yeah, let's do that.
That out from what I'm hearing.
Well, let's hope so, right? I mean, but even then, you've lost valuable time in those weeks where you're trying to iron this out, and did it get ironed out because it finally became public and became part of the discourse of what was going on in the investigation? Because if that's the case, okay, great, you fixed it, but it's still like you got to shake your head and say, well, what were you thinking? I mean, there's so many things that I look at this case and I just scratch my head, and I always make the joke that I said if I had hair, I'd pull it out. Because things such as not even holding the crime scene. I mean, there was no reason to let that crime scene go. I'll tell you right now, if that case happened in New York City, not only we would have kept the house, we would have cordoned off that entire piece of property, and we would have parked one of those big old temporary headquarters vehicle right on the front lawn. And I mean, we're talking, I haven't seen a line or a grid search or a zone.
Let's also not forget Brian Enton walked up. This was in the very, very, very beginning of this case. I would have to go back through his videos and seeing like how many people are out there. It was like maybe within the first week of this happening, he walks up to the property or walks onto the property and walks up to her front door and records the blood splatter or the blood droplets, not blood splatter, blood droplets on her front porch. His DNA is at that scene.
Search, I haven't seen any of that. I mean, you have people walking around like on an Easter egg hunt. That's not the way you do these things. The David dogs, why aren't we bringing them in? Why have they never brought back blood?
Oh, and let's not forget, none of them had booties on. None of them had booties. No booties.
Hounds. They said that they did it in the beginning. They said canines. They didn't specify the kind of dogs that they brought in. I don't know for sure. I'm sure if you heard the type of dogs. But at this point, bring back bloodhounds. Let them sniff the clothing, the pajamas, whatever was left over, and see if we can get a trail, anything. But I mean, now we're talking months into this, and I just say this is like basic investigation stuff. And why wasn't it done? I don't think we'll ever get the answer for.
No. I still don't understand why they cleared the crime scene that first time, because the family wasn't itching to get back into the house. I don't know what the urgency was in doing that. There didn't seem to be any pressure from the outside. Like I couldn't.
So I'm wondering if they cleared that crime or her house as fast as they did is because there's nothing there. There's nothing. No blood on the inside, no struggle. Brian even reported a couple days ago that um source close to the scene said the house was immaculate. She took very good care and everything was in its place. So that's the only thing I can think of, but there's got to be DNA somewhere. Something, some type of touch DNA.
Figure it out.
From all we know, that there was nobody else that even had an expectation of privacy for that house, meaning the only person that had access to the house or the privacy was Nancy herself, which means we wouldn't even, we meaning law enforcement, not me personally, wouldn't need even a search warrant at that point. So, I mean, to say that you would just do this and then leave and then let everybody kind of walk all over the place, it's kind of like, I question that. It's like that entire place should have been done. Because remember, we saw the guy coming to the,
Even all the stuff and everything.
I think it was the septic
everything.
tank, right? And kind of like poking in a few days. You found the blood, on the doorstep, right? I mean, the gloves. Talk about another nightmare scenario, right? Having 16 pairs of rubber gloves that they were left at the scene by searchers, and then another pair of rubber gloves from 2 miles away. I mean, it's like, what are we doing here, folks? I mean, this is not the stuff that we train. And there are no national standards per se on how to run a crime scene, but there is plenty of literature on this. The National Institute of Justice has guides out on this stuff. There have been plenty of textbooks written on this. So to me, it's unacceptable in 2026.
Oh, yeah.
When I think you saw my story, we had a source close to the investigation in Silhouette talking, and I think you tweeted about it, where he was saying that the supervisor had never investigated a homicide.
This is what I was talking about. The supervisor never investigated a homicide. Which, granted, they didn't know it was a homicide at the beginning. Have they officially called it a homicide now? We don't know. We have no clue what the hell's going on.
Which I think I remember seeing your tweet, like that didn't seem to bother. Weren't you trying to say,
No.
well, that part didn't bother you that much?
Right. It doesn't bother me that because the supervisor's there to make sure that the detectives have what they need in order to investigate the case. So when I was a sergeant in the detective squad, I remember the lieutenant telling me when I was brand new sergeant in the squad, I remember the lieutenant says, give the detectives enough space. Your job is to make sure that they have the equipment and the necessary means to do their job, and just let detectives do their work. So yes, when you saw that, I said, that doesn't matter, right? The idea behind the supervisor in this is going to be the manager, the mentor, the trainer, to be able to go in there and say, okay, guys, have you thought of this? No? Okay, why don't we give that a shot? I mean, that's really what the supervisor's job should be.
So, but how is the supervisor going to know what to do or try different techniques if he's never worked a case before? It's like wiping before you poop. It don't make sense. He's not going to think outside the box because he's never been trained to think outside the freaking box.
But we're hearing all kinds of stuff about what's going on, like benching your homicide detectives or the people who had the skill sets already. But you know what, Brian? I don't know if you've asked this question. Like, why didn't they ask for a mutual aid from Tucson or Phoenix, right? And initially, I'd be calling Phoenix and Tucson and say, hey, I need 5 homicide detectives or 5 detectives with experience. I need them there within 48 hours. We're going to pay the bill, but, send them down here. We need everybody at bear on this because it's been proven. The more detectives on an initial case, the faster you'll get it solved. It's as simple as that. And having all these people involved and all this experience to do so is something that needed to be brought bare to the initial stages of this investigation.
Yeah, and beyond the supervisor, we're hearing that the detectives also had less than 2 years experience because the experienced detectives were moved out of homicide because of a beef with the sheriff and all this drama with the election, and it gets very political.
Oh yeah.
And I realized that like pretty much right when I got there and started talking to people, there's just these beefs with the sheriff that have been ongoing for a long time and seem to have bled into this investigation.
And the silence is sort of deafening too in regards to like what people know from the outside, if they were even asked or what they even feel about the situation. But yes, listen, detectives who never caught a homicide or an investigation like this, the only way they're going to learn is until they do so. The idea is having that experience to help them move them along, right? Let them do the case. We saw something very similar happen in Moscow. If you remember, right, the detective there, he never really did the homicide, and they made an arrest in that case too. So if you've investigated cases before, we train our detectives in New York City to solve homicides because you will then use all those tools to solve your lesser crimes. So we prepared our detectives to solve the ultimate crime against society so that anything less than that, they already had the tools necessary, which would bring in another conversation. What is their training like? Who does the training? How often is the training? And was anybody trained? You know, I mean, those are the next questions that would come up. I mean, I would like to see if they have a detective guide or a procedure about how to handle a crime scene, even from the uniform cops, the first cops on the scene. Listen, they often make or break cases. Did they hold the scene? Did they see any witnesses? Did they detain anybody? Did they notice something out of place? Those are all real important steps when you're dealing with a case like this.
Yeah, and I was in Idaho for the Moscow murders too, and I think the difference there was the police weren't saying anything, and we didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, but we just didn't know. I mean, we didn't know if they were busy, if they had a lot, if they didn't have a lot. With this situation, though, in Arizona with Nancy Guthrie, like we actually have sources telling us that they have nothing, that they have no suspect, that they don't have any good leads right now, that they're.
The difference between Nancy's case and the Idaho 4 is the Idaho 4, they moved in silence. And when they had something, they put it out. Nancy's case, no. They're not moving in silence. They have people like you just said, they have people coming out and saying that they have nothing. They have nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. And they're reaching now. They are reaching now for stuff.
They're basically just, I mean, like the latest I've heard is that they're going to all the construction sites in the neighborhood and trying to get a full list of everybody who's worked these construction jobs just to go down that list and try to rule those people out.
Yeah,
And
that's
apparently
called
they're having a
entrapment
hard
of
time
fraud.
because some of the crews are nervous to give up names. And, you know, like some people are in the country illegally. There's, you know, issues there with all of that. But I mean, they're not to say that they're desperate, but they're, I mean, kind of like you said, shaking the trees. Like it seems like they're really shaking the trees. Where when I was in Idaho, they actually had like really legitimate stuff going on behind the scenes. They just weren't, they were closing in on Brian Koberger. They just weren't telling us that. Whereas they're not closing in on anyone from what we know in Arizona.
Right. And I kind of agree with that, so to speak, because you see these have over $1 million worth of rewards, and we haven't seen anything that resembles anything of, you know, of reports, except for, remember in the initial stages, and you were part of one of those where they had somebody in custody, and they made the cardinal rule of saying we have somebody in custody, right?
What the $1.2 million reward? I think this goes deeper than what we think it does. No, I'm not trying to get conspiracy theory, but it's like the person that took her or people that took her, they're part of something bigger. And if they get taken down, the rest of the group is going to fall too. And they can't have that.
You know, you don't do that until after you vet out the information and who this person is, because it looks bad. I mean, I just wish that the sheriff and I've seen this a number of times recently, would have just used a public information officer at the very beginning stages of this. When you have a major case like this, I want to see my police executive at the scene. I want him or her directing what should be going on, what assets they need, what, you know, if they need cell phones or batteries or even just food to keep them at the scene going. That's what I want my executives to be doing, not sitting in front of the press conference. That's why you have a PIO, because as you know, Brian, these cases are dynamic and they change in the matter of minutes. And when you the executive say something, everyone expects that to be the truth, even though you're not lying, but you gave out bad information. Who can walk back the executive? There's nobody above you. That's why you have the PIO, and then the next person who's higher than them can step in and say, okay, we know we said this, but that was the initial thing. Now the investigation has shifted. This is what we found. We will keep you posted. And that's it. And instead, it turned into the mess that it has been.
That's such a good point. The sheriff could have almost protected himself and his reputation. You use a PIO, and then it's kind of like, oh, we had bad information. It's more on them versus now you got the top guy making mistakes, saying things different ways. And then it like it is now, it's like, who can we trust?
Right. And now every time he says something or every time he did something, nobody believes him. And that's part of the problem. But that's why we have PIOs. Listen, this whole incident management system technique has been in place since September 11th, where we have an incident commander and we have different sections. And one of those sections is public information. And that person is generally the public information officer. And I can't remember the case offhand. Well, it was a much smaller.
Blah 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 blah.
What happened here? What the motive might have been?
Well, there's a lot of things that a lot of people have speculated on a lot of things. But one thing that I can think of is that I don't believe she was a targeted attack. I think there was going to be a planned burglary and that this thing went bad. Why do I say
No.
it's not a targeted attack?
Sorry, if you're gonna do a
Well,
plan.
listen, look how they dealt. Like the guy dealt with the
Oh, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna do a planned burglary, you're not gonna stuff your backpack full of shit. You're gonna want it empty so you can stick as much shit into it. Unless you had other bags and that, and you were planning on taking larger items. No, it was not a planned burglary. I mean, she was a good target for it, but no, because then why would there be a ransom? Why would they take her? They would just do away with her right there and leave her there and take stuff of value.
camera, right? I mean, putting flowers on it, whatever. He wasn't really in a big rush. He wasn't really too concerned about this. And I had said from the very beginning that this guy was an amateur. And the reason why I said that is because he did not look prepared. Now, the people throw that back at me and say, well, Joe, he's not an amateur, but we're 2 months into this. Well, listen, these guys make mistakes. It's up to law enforcement to be able to figure out what those mistakes are. But, listen, most burglaries happen directly through the front door. So that was his first intention. Does it happen through the back door? Apparently that's where things go. But you have an 84-year-old immobile person who has a heart monitor and all the other things that go along with it. Bad choice if she was a targeted attack, because the likelihood of something going wrong with her is extremely high. And now you're looking at murder charges. So
But if it's just a burglary gone wrong, though, why would he have been there previously? Remember, we think he was there January 11th, which would have been 3 weeks before. Would he have been planning it
staking
that
out
long?
staking out the joint, right? He's actually doing his homework. He's looking at things. Maybe he's knowing that her routine is like she goes over to her, she leaves every Sunday to go to, wherever. So, it was that day of Sunday. I mean, was it on a weekend where, so was he doing his homework, so to speak? That's just the way I would be looking as the working theory. And I had said before we started, once the ransom notes started kicking in, you have another level of investigation that has to be done there. So you have to be able to pivot. So you have, like I said, 3 investigations happening: ransom, stranger abduction, and always friends and family are always included in these investigations. I don't care what anybody says. Most people are victimized by someone they know, and that's a asking all along, and no one's ever given me an answer. Was there a router in the house that they have in Mexico? So I would.
Mm. Come on.
You guys remember the Board of Supervisors in Pima County has been investigating the sheriff. There was this whole controversy with him allegedly lying under oath and saying that he had never been suspended before, when actually at his last job decades ago in El Paso, he had been suspended a number of times. So the Board of Supervisors hired this legal team to look into the sheriff. There's also been allegations of ethical violations involving his opponent when he was running for sheriff, a woman named Heather Lappin, who also worked at the sheriff's office. And these allegations are that he was purposely punishing her ahead of the election and that there was election interference. So there's this new document that's come out where there are 3 different things that he was being investigated for bullying. It said that they don't have the evidence to support a finding. But then these 2, they backed up. Ethics, the preponderance of the evidence supports a finding that Sheriff Nanos used his authority and department resources for political gain. The evidence includes considering Lieutenant Lappin's political campaign and investigation and you guys about where they're
All right. There's some on my mouse. I keep screwing with my mouse and it keeps getting faster and I don't like it. Okay, now it's a little too slow. They'll be back, Bubba's. You just wait, okay? Oh, I shouldn't. I was like, what is this button on here? And no. Okay. All right. I shared it to my page. Gosh dang it. I know I'm not verified. Watch who comes walking out right here. Now watch the way he walks. Definitely not porch guy. Definitely not porch guy. That was Tommaso. That was Tommaso. Okay, TMZ thing already shared. Oh, here's when Savannah this morning.
So glad you started your week. Welcome to today on this Monday morning. We are so glad you started your week with us, and it is good to be home.
Yes, it is good to have you back at home.
Well, here we go, ready or not.
Yeah.
Let's do the news.
Yes, so good to have you back.
Welcome to today on this Monday morning.
You could tell. Her Easter message.
Everybody, happy Easter. And Easter is happy. It is flowers and pastels and baby bunnies. It is sunshine and joy and hope. It is rebirth and second chances and new life and fresh starts. It is the most important day of the year for all of us who believe, even more than Christ's birth, more than his death, his resurrection, his second birth into a permanent life. That is what is most crucial to us. His revival and resurrection mean the same for us. We celebrate today the promise of a new life that never ends in death. But standing here today, I have to tell you, there are moments in which that promise seems irretrievably far away, when life itself seems far harder than death. These moments of deep disappointment with God, the feeling of utter abandonment. For most of us, there will come a time in our life when these feelings hold sway. In our tradition, we are taught to take comfort in the fact that our friend, Jesus, in his short life, experienced every single emotion that we humans can feel. That his taking on the form of humanity made him not a distant observer to our pain, but a hands-on experiencer of it. Recently, though, in my own season of trial, I have wondered. I have questioned whether Jesus really ever experienced this particular wound that I feel. This grievous and uniquely cruel injury of not knowing, of uncertainty and confusion, and answers withheld. In those darkest moments, I have thought, bitterly and perhaps irreverently, that I have stumbled upon a feeling that Jesus did not know. After all, don't the gospel stories recount Jesus informing his disciples of his destiny, that he had been sent to die to ultimately be raised up? They didn't get it, but he did. He at least knew his fate. And yes, it grieved him deeply, to the point of shedding tears of blood in the Garden of Gethsemane. But still, he knew the ending. He knew the plan. There would be suffering, but then resurrection. And so I thought, he never suffered this excruciating not knowing. It isn't wrong to think such thoughts, to challenge our God with questions. God does not ask us to be stoics, with standards of pain with Zen-like remove, or shallow sloganeering about the hard battles God gives to his toughest soldiers. Our questions to God, our wrestling with God, this is his opportunity. For through our authenticity and vulnerability comes a portal of revelation, the imparting of truth and wisdom. And so it went for me, this portal opening as I stared at yet another incongruently luminous desert sunset amidst my spirit's utter darkness. Suddenly I remembered the grave. I remembered 3 days in the grave. No one talks much about that. We focus mostly on Easter. Of course we do. We cut to the happy ending and the joy of Sunday morning. And yes, we do observe the Friday before, the agony of crucifixion. We mourn by candlelight that darkest night. But after Jesus died, after he breathed his last, what did he actually know? On the cross, he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" That is the anguished cry of someone who does not know the answers. Where did his soul and his spirit go in those days in between? And what was he thinking? Did he think his time in the grave would be a day or two or 1,000 years? In the grave, did his agony seem indefinite to him? That torment of uncertainty, the way indefinite pain can feel eternal? Perhaps he did know this feeling after all. As humans living on this earth now, we are all suspended in that moment of uncertainty. Not 3 days, but thousands of years between his cross and our resurrection with him. Our faith gives us a spiritual conviction that we will be reborn, that God will redeem this pain, that every tear will be wiped away, that our Easter is coming. But we live viscerally in the meantime, the mean time of feeling unsure, lost, abandoned, disappointed, enraged, forgotten. Our comfort is that our God has felt those feelings from a perspective of humanity, that he has compassion on us, and that he promises, if not immediate answers, his sweet presence. He promises closeness to the brokenhearted. Somehow, miraculously, his loving and gentle presence that makes the mean time less mean. Perhaps this is too dark a message to share on Easter morning. But I have long believed that we miss out on fully celebrating resurrection if we do not acknowledge the feelings of loss, pain, and yes, death. It is the darkness that makes this morning's light so magnificent, so blindingly beautiful. It is all the brighter because it is so desperately needed. So I close my eyes this morning and I feel the sunshine. I see a bright vision of the day when heaven and earth pass away because they are one on earth as it is in heaven. When we celebrate today, this is what we celebrate.
Wait. She just said on earth and in heaven. That's what they say at the cemetery. Oh, I wonder if she's leaving little tidbits in her messages. As it is on earth, as in heaven. Can't think of what the last of the saying is, but I definitely know they say that at cemeteries. I've had to bury a lot of people.
And I celebrate too. I still believe. And so I say with conviction, Happy Easter.
I just wonder if she is leaving. Okay, that's for a JLR stream. This isn't a JLR stream. I'm not giving. What the fuck? Okay, hold on. Tangent genealogy. B, missing IQ to cracking Nancy's case. TMZ. Bitcoin assault's gonna be on here now. Watch. What's this? How can we see the dark side of the moon? But we still can't find Nancy Grace. Nancy got their Grace. Oh my god. Sorry, that one was funny. I'm gonna like that one. Oh, did I share? I don't know if I shared it or not. What'd you give me? I don't like Dove.
You said vanilla or chocolate.
Oh.
You have this
What is that?
every Sunday.
Who'd you get it for?
Paige, and switch them if you want.
Yeah, switch and bring me some. I don't like Dove. I don't. This is my husband when I'm down to get the kids ice cream. He brought me back a Dove. I'm like, I don't like Dove. What is this? Strawberry sundae? Artificially flavored vanilla ice cream with strawberry sauce. I'll totally eat that. I don't care. Looks good. Lily and Tommaso were seen back at Nancy's home this evening. Wait, how credible is this person? Okay, let me see. Crazy how all this happens on the same day Savannah returns to NBC and new ransom. Yeah. Mm, I want to know more about that ransom note. What is this guy talking about? Let's see.
Normally, she is back, baby, and she got a full-on parade. No prayers, no moment of silence for Nancy, but we had a full-on hype crowd with signs. I was waiting for Katy Perry to come out and start singing Baby You're a Firework. I think I saw somebody even fling their panties up on stage. Like, it was crazy. What a hyped crowd. Everybody was cheering for her. They had signs that they made for her. Again, no moment of silence for Nancy Guthrie. No update on what's going on with her mother. It was a full-on Disneyland parade. I was waiting for the fireworks to start going off for Savannah's big return to the Today Show on day 64 since Nancy Guthrie went missing. So here's your latest Nancy Benet Ramsey update, because I didn't realize we were going to be hit with so much news. Not only did Savannah make her return, but we got 2 new ransom letters. Sheriff Harvey is back in the mix, and Sheriff Harvey came with not 1 but 2 letters that we got today, Monday. 64 days since Nancy Guthrie went missing. Okay, first letter basically said that they want to be taken seriously, and they're reducing the price down to half a Bitcoin. They know where Nancy's at. They know where the body's at. And then the second letter is claiming that Nancy was in Mexico. They said that they saw her in Mexico with her alleged old lady snatchers. I guess there's apparently more than one. But Sheriff Harvey also said that he turned these letters over to the authorities, and authorities don't believe that they're legit. For whatever reason, the authorities don't want to look into this. They don't want to pay any of the money. I mean, the price keeps going down. Nancy Guthrie has been placed in the clearance bin officially, like in the back of the store clearance bin at Ross. That's where we've left Nancy at this point. It's sad. Like, this whole case makes me angry. It makes me sad. It's disappointing what a punchline it's become, and I understand I'm complicit in it, but it's just gotten so ridiculous with Sheriff Nanos being like, she's alive out there. Now we have some random person being like, I saw her in Mexico. I don't know, was she in Cancun sipping margaritas? Like, what's going on here? Savannah is just like on her, they said joy is her protest. Joy cometh in the morning. Remember when Kamala gave us that? Joy cometh in the morning. Well, Savannah cometh in the morning with her bright yellow dress because that signified hope. Like, just the PR strategy. As somebody that understands Hollywood PR tricks, the PR optics of all of this, like, we're just going to forget that the lady is still missing. The lady is gone. We have no idea where this lady's at, but we're out here throwing parades for her daughter to come back on television. Again, I swear I saw panties flying up on obviously that's a joke, but like, I mean, come on, this is crazy. Katy Perry better be there tomorrow. Nancy, you're a firework.
Tommaso went into the garage with what appears to be law enforcement. Nancy Grace, she did a thing tonight. I was watching a little bit of it, and I don't want to play her, but they're focusing on Nancy's bedroom and the garage now. So, let's see, Yahoo News. Oop, I want to play the whole thing. Did I share it? I can't remember if I shared it. There's a whole thing of her. Guess I didn't. Dang it. Let me see here. This ice cream thing is really good. I'm not gonna lie, my stepdaughter gonna be. She won't know. She can eat the dove one. She's at work. Let me see here. I want to play because it's so emotional. What's this? Nancy got the crazy aerial view. Look closely at the entrance. Yeah, new or just overlooked. Trying to think where this would be at here, because this is for the pool, the backyard. Can we zoom in? No. Okay, what about it? It's another, because right down here is the Oh, the patio thing. Yeah, there's a gate. There needs to be a gate to get in and out because right here's her pool stuff or her equipment. Like, okay, Mark. Okay. Okay, what are we looking at here? Is there no. What am I looking at? What's that from? Who posted that? Oh, here we go. Nancy Guthrie's backyard javelins decor. Javelins? I don't know what the fuck that is. Okay, what about it, Mark? What the fuck? You're just showing shit to show shit now. Fake. What's this? I don't know if this has been bad bag, but to me it seems to be wearing body armor. What the fuck? You can't see anything in this damn picture. I swear to God. People they're grasping at straws now. God, this is so good. Let's have a video with it. Where's the damn? I seen it this morning. Talked about the first note TMZ live. A person sent a second letter saying I saw her alive with them in the state of. Okay, that's old. What's this? Exploring with Jim found more. Oh my god! It's an animal. Where? Yeah, don't ever do this, people. Don't ever get like a little badge from Dollar Tree and say that you're Ellie or FBI. Idiot. Yeah, I seen this video this morning. Nice go. Guthrie. Oh, that's just a picture. Oh wait.
Yeah! SG, come on out here!
Good morning.
They've been waiting for it. How does it feel?
These signs are so beautiful. You guys have been so beautiful. I've received so many letters, so much kindness to me and my whole family. We feel it. We feel your prayers. So thank you so much. Thank
It's
you.
not just today. They've been out here
Every day.
every day.
This is such
with
a nice
signs.
pocket square. I don't want to slobber on it. Okay, it is. I know. I'm sorry.
How little is a million of them?
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
We love you.
SG, come on out here!
But yeah, that is pretty much what is going on. This is gonna load. What's it gonna do? Hold on, I have one more bite, and then I'm gonna scroll a little more. This is really good. This is my new favorite thing. Anyway, bye-bye, Pugsley. Anyway, bye-byes. It's all gone. Anyway, bye-bye. Oh my gosh, did you hear about this?
And if you want to find this one, you look at
Oh, it's a little bit. Anyways, the one guy lost his wife, and they named two of the creators or creator. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. One his name is Carol for the guy's late wife. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Let's see here. Actually, let me see. Wait, is it 2 or 1? Like it's. Oh my god. Just an idiot today. My brain is fried. I was streaming uh the lunar or the space stuff today. April 4th. He hasn't posted anything today. Let me see if he's got anything on his YouTube. Oops. Share this tab so you guys can see what I'm doing. What's nerdy got? True crime 3. Okay, so let's go. I should have waited till tomorrow to do this because I am just exhausted right now. Oh, he's not on. He hasn't posted anything. Dang it. Plus my stepkids are here, so trying to keep them away from me while I'm doing this. See what JLR is doing. Driving around. Still.
Home today, Tommaso.
We're not gonna do him. He's on a warpath right now. So. Oh, I do want to check in on this.
Event that occurs at times, but they could still.
We've experienced, except here on Earth, we have things like plate tectonics, oceans, forests, people that erase the rock.
Just wanted to see. This is old? What the hell?
There,
I guess not. That's old. I watched that. I streamed it. So I guess they got comms back now, which is good. I was kind of worried about them. God knows, anything can happen. What's that? What's this? Oh, wow. What is that? That's pretty. Oh, but yeah. I just want to get on and bring up the no. All right, I'm gonna get off. It's almost after 8 here. I'm tired. Anything else breaks, I will try to go live as